I was asked to create more videos about Shiva consciousness from a previous video I had. So let's go deeper. These videos are not for beginners. You are going to have a certain level of understanding of how things work to be able to really understand this. If there are topics you don't understand here, then obviously we're on YouTube. Go research those topics. General relativity, special relativity, what string theory, those things are great concepts to be able to have basic understandings when we get into the sacred geometry. Because with consciousness, whether we call it collective consciousness, Christ consciousness, God level consciousness, the top layer, the higher realms, the higher mind, whatever you want to call it. First of all, you have to break out of the monkey mind. Now, I have other videos talking about how to break out of the monkey mind, whether it is through disciplined work, whether it is through receiving Kundalini energy. I have group sessions, I have private sessions. Come join me, theawakenenergy.com. We can go that way. There are many ways to break through this. But when we have broken out of the monkey mind, and we can perceive our monkey mind from here, and we can connect to our personal space, the next thing we need to do is realize non-duality, unity consciousness. And to do this, we have to realize we are not. Whilst we are unique within our tiny space, our physical body and our personal space, we are connected to everything. Therefore, we must make sure we consciously connect to everything. So how do we do this? Well, some people will call it the star chakra up here. And the way it is described is it's as though we are not connected here. So we have to, through raising our Kundalini, fully awakening our Kundalini, through meditation, some types of yogic work. Some are very effective, others are completely useless. Through internal alchemy, there are many ways to do this. And my courses, I teach part of my courses. It's to learn about Kundalini energy and control. My 52-week course, my 8-week courses, we learn about internal alchemy. It's all part of the process. We learn about how to control and connect our energies, not just for facilitating to other people, but to get to these points and go further. But once you connect, make this connection here. If it's a very faint connection, you can start to have visions. So anyone who's tried mushrooms, cactus, ayahuasca, you will understand, even LSD, you will understand, at least in part, this connection. Because there are studies going on that, for example, like ayahuasca and things, they don't actually make that connection. They just do things to the brain to make the brain create certain brainwave patterns to enable you to make that connection for a short period of time. Now, this is, I think, Kundalini awakening connects you. So Kundalini partial risings will connect you to that partially. When you awaken your Kundalini, you have a connection to the ayahuasca realm, basically whenever you want. And so you can connect to this consciousness level. And as I said, on a very basic thing, you'll start to have, some people will have feelings, some people will have visions, some people will hear sounds. Now, the sounds are possibly the hardest one to understand unless you know the theory of sound, music theory, and I'm not talking about, I am talking about harmonics, I'm talking about vibrations. And this is, mandalas were created, and you can see there are, many of the temples, the pyramids, not the Egyptian ones, other ones around the world, have been created in these geometrical patterns to show people these patterns. But now we can see them through cymatics and things like that. And so once you hear a sound, if you're hearing sounds, then to be able to understand them visually, you will then have to hear the same sound, connect it to a cymatic pattern, and then you will see the geometric shape it relates to. I'm getting a bit complicated here. But so you will start to get sounds. It could be like a sort of tinnitus type of thing, or you can start to see visions. These visions will start as colors, tunnels, that then start creating more like geometrical patterns, sacred geometry. You'll see these things. And as you develop this connection and go further, it will take you into the visions of LSD, ayahuasca, cactus, the toads or the frogs. It will take you to those places. But it won't just take you to random places, because I've been doing this for a long time. And virtually everybody, once they make the connection in a certain way, they have very similar visions. Just like people who have near-death experiences, the visions they explain are very, very similar. There are thousands of documented, or tens of thousands of documented cases of this, and they all have very similar visions. Well, the same thing happens when awakening your Kundalini. People have same visions. When I do energy circles with advanced practitioners, it's not only that people have visions, we have shared visions. Yes, I know that is out of this world to say. Come try it for yourself. That's all I can say. Come do the practice. Come do my trainings. Because obviously you have to do the training because this is a very advanced practice. But when you start to have shared visions, shared journeys, like ayahuasca, but literally within the group, and one person's talking, saying, well, I saw this, and you're thinking, oh my God, so did I. Wow, it just blows your mind. Collective consciousness. But you have to, before that happens, you have to get comfortable being in this space. And it's very useful to know the general relativity, special relativity, the difference between them. So why light travels in a straight line, but if that light is bent by gravity, it actually speeds up. So time is not relative. I'm talking very, very basically here. Thus, this can explain to you, once you get to having visions, you can understand these things. And you have to understand, string theory, special relativity, all these things were known by ancient civilizations that we are only just realizing through science today exist. How the hell do you think they knew them? Because they knew how to connect. They knew how to see these things. They spent time there. They learned them. they understood them, so they could explain things that science is only just waking up to today. This is how they did it. And so if we can have the basic scientific understanding of these things, it will help us go much deeper, much faster. If we understand sacred geometry, when we start to see these patterns, instead of saying, oh, I saw a pyramid, or oh, I saw a, you'll start to understand why you're seeing these shapes, because they form a language, the universal language that some people have humanized to call God and made it male and made it female. It's like, come on, if gods were male or female, that means they sexually reproduce. If they sexually reproduce because they're male and female, that means they're not gods, they're just another race. That's why people now call gods aliens, the Arcturians, the Palladians, which previously was Mount Olympus. It's the same thing, just repeating in different definitions so people can feel special. And this is the way we see it. We understand it better now. Do you understand it any better? Really? It's just the same thing. It's the same information being seen in different angles and different perspectives and different filters and different beliefs and different lenses, but it's the same thing. You can see these things in ancient architectures if you know where to look. In buildings, there are visions you can have that will explain to you why certain buildings are built a certain way. I'm not going to explain those things to you, because the beauty of this is to discover them for yourself. Much like in the martial arts, they tell students, and this is why martial arts take such a long time traditionally, and even the Indian guru to student, because they worked with them for 20 years because people had to figure things out for themselves. Say, this is point A, this is point B. Figure out how to get there. Today, people like me, we teach you how to get there. But then the experiences, the beauty of it is there for you to investigate and enjoy for yourself. How do we get there? Get out of the monkey mind, get into the mind body, make that connection, understand what non-duality really is. Understand that we are all connected, but not just understand it, know it deep within your core. And when you are able to have shared experiences with different people at different times, with different groups, and not even in the same location, you can do this with groups online. You can do this not online, just everyone sits down at the same time, and you can still have these shared experiences. When you have these shared experiences and you can understand that people are telling you, oh, well, this happened, and you lived it, then you truly get to experience the feeling that you are connected to something. It really is worth it. Remember to subscribe to the channel, share this video with people you think that might be interested. And if you really are interested, seriously, and want to experience these things, not some random vision like taking LSD, but sort of a sequence of things that everybody goes through, an awakening process, just like the Egyptians used to have. The Egyptian Book of the Dead is not about dying physically, because a heart can never be lighter than a feather. Sod what archaeologists say, they don't have a bloody clue, because physics tells you, yeah, They're talking metaphorically. They're talking spiritually. Because the Book of the Dead is a mistranslated title. Because in those days, the Egyptians saw everybody as dead, apart from those who went to become priests and priestesses to be initiated into the spiritual way of life. And that is why priest and priestess in those times was not a dedicated profession. It's people came, they studied, they learned for a while, and then they went back home again. This is basically the tradition that we are bringing back so you can understand these things. So if you are committed to doing that, go to theawakenedenergy.com, sign up for a course, sign up for a training, and let's go deeper together. Anyone who says, Shakti energy should be left alone, Shiva, Kundalini should be done by itself, spontaneously, with no control whatsoever, are fools, because I would never tell someone to don't take any driving lessons, just get in a car and just drive and see what happens. That's what they're saying. Really? If you're interested, you know where to find us.